Martin Luther King Jr. Biography. Occupation: Civil Rights Leader. Born January 15, 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia. Died April 4, 1868 in Memphis, Tennessee. Best known for advancing the civil rights movement and his I Have a Dream speech. Martin Luther King Jr. was a civil rights activist in the 1950s and 1960s. He led nonviolent protests to fight for the rights of all people, including African Americans. He hoped that America and the world would become a colorblind society where race would not impact a person's civil rights. He is considered one of the great orators of modern times, and his speeches still inspire many to this day. Martin Luther King Jr. was born in Atlanta, Georgia on January 15, 1929. He went to Booker T. Washington High School. He was so smart that he skipped 2 grades in high school. He started his college education at Morehouse College at the young age of 15. After getting his degree in sociology from Morehouse, Martin got a divinity degree from Crozer Seminary and then got his doctor's degree in theology from Boston University. Martin's dad was a preacher, which inspired Martin to pursue the ministry. He had a younger brother and an older sister. In 1953, he married Coretta Scott. Later, they would have 4 children, including Yolanda, Martin, Dexter, and Bernice. In his first major civil rights action, Martin Luther King Jr. led the Montgomery bus boycott. This started when Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a bus to a white man. She was arrested and spent the night in jail. As a result, Martin helped to organize a boycott of the public transportation system in Montgomery. The boycott lasted for over a year. It was very tense at times. Martin was arrested and his house was bombed. In the end, however, Martin prevailed and segregation on the Montgomery buses came to an end. In 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. helped to organize the famous March on Washington. Over 250,000 people attended this march in an effort to show the importance of civil rights legislation. Some of the issues the march hoped to accomplish included an end to segregation in public schools, protection from police abuse, and to get laws passed that would prevent discrimination in employment. It was at this march where Martin gave his I Have a Dream speech. This speech has become one of the most famous speeches in history. The March on Washington was a great success. The Civil Rights Act passed a year later in 1964. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated on April 4, 1968 in Memphis, Tennessee. While standing on the balcony of his hotel, he was shot by James Earl Ray. King was the youngest person to be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is a national holiday. There are over 730 streets in the United States named after Martin Luther King Jr.